Hello everyone. So today we're going to be talking about how to connect to the database and how to create the task list in the database. So the first thing we're going to be doing is creating the login, and then we're going to be creating the database and the table. And the table is going to be the actual task list. So each task will have an ID, which is just like a number value where each task has a different number value than all the other ones. And each task will also have a name, task name, and it'll have a due date, which is when we have to do the task. And it's also going to have a boolean is active value. So if you haven't finished the task yet, then it's considered as active, so the value will be true. But if you did finish the task, then is active would be false because it's done. So let's open up pgadmin and let's start. Alright, so let's exit out of this and let's open up pgadmin. So I just say pgadmin in the search bar. And so what this pgadmin is it's a management tool for PostgreSQL, as you can see right here. So you use the password that you created when you installed Postgres. And this is just a user interface that lets you do all the things that you can do with your database that you would be using with that you would be doing with your terminal. So here you could see that it says servers. So this is PostgreSQL 13. This is already a ready-made server. We're not going to be using this. So we're going to actually right click here, right here, and we're going to say create, and we're going to say server. So where it says name, I'm going to put task list server. And then that's it for this. And in connection, we're going to have to say localhost because it's going to be on the computer. And where it says password, put your password in. And then I'm just going to say save password here. So save. And then now, as you can see, we have task list server right here in the corner. So if we open this up, we see that we have this Postgres database. So let's close that. And also you can see that we have this login group roles. Group roles. So now over here we can say create a login. So this is going to be called, if we look over here, we have task list user. So this user is going to have access to just our new created database. So we're just going to say task list underscore user. So, and then down here, the password, let's just say the password is ABC123. And we're going to give him no privileges. Let's just say he can log in. And then nothing here, here, or here. So now we can just hit save. And there you go. Down here we have task list user. So now we can close that and create a new database. And we're going to call this database TaskListDB. So TASK list and DB. So the owner is not going to be Postgres, but it's going to be TaskList user. So now don't worry about anything else. Let's just see them. And that's it. So now we have TaskListDB, so we can open it. And then we open up schema, and it's going to open up public automatically. And now we look for tables, which is right here. So we have no tables, and we have to create a table called task list. So let's do that. So we're going to be creating the table, and it's going to be called task list. And the owner is going to be task list user, and the columns. So remember when we talked about the columns are just going to be ID, task name, due date, and is underscore active. So let's see. First, this is going to be called ID. And primary key means that it's definitely, you have to have it. And it's also going, each task is going to have a different ID. So primary key means that in every value, it's going to be different. or in every row it's going to be different, and it's always going to be there. It has to have a value. So you have to uncheck. We don't have to uncheck not null, because when you say primary key, you know that it's not null. But I'm just going to check not null. And this is going to be an integer. So I'm just going to say int integer. And that's going to be it for that. So let's make a new one. And this is going to be task underscore name. So let's say task underscore name. And here, this is going to be a varying character. So var, or let's just say character varying, sorry. So this means that it's going to be able to have characters up to a certain length. And let's say that our task is going to be no more than 200 characters. And this has to be not null as well. And you can only have one primary key, so this is going to be our ID. And then task, we're going to have due date, so this is going to be due underscore date, and this is going to be a date, so date. And this is also going to be not null. And now, finally, is active. So this is going to be a boolean. It's just a true or false. So is underscore active, and it's going to be a boolean. So boolean. And this is also not null. So these are our columns. So let's save this table. So now we have this here. And now you want to say scripts. And let's add a value. So let's say create script, or actually not create script. This is how you create a table. You say insert script. So it does pretty much all of the writing for you, but you have to just replace these question marks. So the first question mark is going to be the ID. So let's make the ID 1. And the task name, let's say it's washing dishes. So we have single quotes and we say washing or wash dishes. And let's just make those capital. And now the due date, so this is also going to be in single quotes. Oops, that's way too many. And then we're going to say 12/30/2020. And here in is active, we just say true. Let's say true. And now when we run this, it says that its query returned successfully, so we didn't get an error. So now if you want to see that, we can go to TaskList again and go to scripts and see select script. And so this is just going to say select ID, task name, due date is active from public task list. So it's selecting all of it. And let's just run that. And we got it. So we got 1, wash dishes, 2020, 12/30, and true. So now let's try deleting a value. So let's go back to table and let's say task list and let's say script. And this is actually going to be the delete script. So delete from public.tasklist. So delete from the table where, and this is where ID becomes really useful because everything has a different ID. So I can just say where ID is equal to 1. And when we run that, now if we go to our select script and we run it, there's going to be nothing in the table. And finally, let's do our update script. So let's just go back to creating, let's create the wash dishes task again. So insert and 1, and then this is going to be our wash dishes, and this is going to be 12/30/2020, and is active is going to be true. And let's run that. And now we can update this. So we can go to scripts, update script, and then now we can say set ID equals, let's keep this as 1. Task name will be, let's say, oops, still wash dishes. So wash dishes, and the due date. Let's change the due date up. So the due date is now going to be let's say 1/1/2021, and is active is now false. And here let's say ID is equal to 1. So ID is equal to 1. So basically what it's saying here is that make the ID 1, task name wash dishes, due date 1/1/2021, and is active false, where the ID is 1 already. So now if I run this, it has been updated. So now I can just say select, let's make that all caps, select star from public dot task list. So now what they should do is give us everything. So saying select star means to just give me the whole table. So 1 wash dishes, 1/1/2021, and false. So that's how you update it. And also we can have multiple values, and we can choose to see only a couple of them. So if I say insert, and let's make this 2, and oops, take out trash. Oh, I don't know why it's deleting everything like that, but it's alright. Take out trash, and change this to T. Take out trash, and let's make the due date 1/1/2021, or let's actually change this to 1/2, because we already have 1/1, and let's make this true. So there you go. And let's run that. Now we can go back to the select star from, or the select script, and now we can just say from task list where ID equals 2, just like we did before, and we'll only see the second one. We don't see the first ID. Or we can also say greater than 1, and it's also going to show me 2. And that's basically how you create a table and a database and connect to the database and get values into a table and make columns, and a lot of stuff with databases actually today. And tomorrow we're going to start doing folder structure and just a lot of sorting things out for the project. But that's all for now. Bye.